That's a good job.
3 days in, what are your impressions, or you feel you're on where you want to be?
Yeah, the intensity level has been great. I've been really impressed with the intensity of the team and guys working. You know, it's been good to see. There's nobody taking possessions off. Today, I thought we took care of the ball much better. We've been punishing the turnovers, and I think the white team had one punishing drill to have. So it was good to see, and attention to detail has gotten better. So far so good. Knock on wood.
Talking to 𝐒𝐿𝐃𝐋 out there, watching it reminds me kind of the college atmosphere. Having so many young guys, I know you guys are developing. Is that kind of the approach and taking advantage of having guys that are just fresh out of college and keeping that rolling?
James, no question. We like I told the coaches, we can't skip any letters of the alphabet just because, we had to teach guys 2 for 1. All those situations that we have to talk about in the NBA and what time we want to do it. So just different rules. 2.9, in the paint, 2.9 defensively. All those things are where we're starting with a lot of our players. So those are the things I'm sure he saw. And then to the fundamentals of pivoting, of passing, of using your information foot, your free foot, to make sure you see the defense. All those little things are important. Again, we can't take anything for granted. We were 27th last year in turnovers, so we have a lot of room for improvement in those areas.
Yesterday you mentioned the roster. You can see it's going about 10 deep during the season. Just looking at the roster, it looks like there's more than 10 guys realistically who could be in the mix. Do you think you'll see maybe different rotations every night? Just kind of
I think somebody could squeeze into that, into that 9 or 10 area. Again, it's going to be about production, about playing, about guys getting the job done. Some nights it may be matchups if we're playing against a small team. But I think it's mathematically it's tough to get meaningful minutes for more than 9 or 10 in a game. So, but those last 2 or 3 spots could be rotated. Just again, it's going to depend on how well guys are playing and productivity.
And both Corey and Kelly were in there yesterday, and they both talked about Cade. But the thing that struck me about what they said is that they said, "Look, number one thing, we expect he's a great player. What kind of surprised them is that how he seems to care about winning and has." Very conscious of this kind of blending in and being a good teammate. Have you seen that from him?
No question. He's come from a very athletic family, with his dad being a football player, brother a coach. So he's very aware of a team dynamic, team chemistry, and is very aware of it. He doesn't come in the room and say, "Hey, here's who I am, the number 1 pick." I haven't seen one instance of that whatsoever. So he's very aware. At some point, he's going to step in and have put his imprint on the situation. But he's smart enough and savvy enough to understand team dynamics, and I'm really impressed with him with that. Like you said, it's a given. If you're the number 1 pick, you can play. So, but the other things are the things that make him different, and that's what he brings to the table. He has that old it factor. You don't know what it is, but he has it. And again, that doesn't automatically anoint him. He's still got to get out on the floor and learn some things and get to where he wants to be. And it won't be easy. There's going to be some tough nights, and we've got to get him ready for those situations.
Obviously, they're around high level and Hall of Fame type players. How important is it for just kind of the chemistry that forms in a team and the mindset of an organization when best players have that type of demeanor?
It's huge because, again, he's going to be, doing commercials, doing all this. He can't let that distract him from his day job. And he's a smart enough kid. He's disciplined enough to do that. And for the organization to have a young man who represents that. And I would say this, I think we have a team full of young men that are like that. Jeremy Grant's like that. Isaiah Stewart's like that. So we have class, character, smart young men that represents the Pistons organization. So I think that's very important to have. And but Kate, he's got that. And for him, the number one pick, the guy that's going to be the face of everything, is a man of character and a team first guy, and that's huge.
You've been around a lot of lottery picks. For a guy like Kate who comes in with that type of expectation, how do you measure kind of weighing them against the expectations that's been set, whilst being realistic about the fact that they're still a rookie, they're still a teenager?
Well, that's our job as an organization, my job as a coach, to make sure we put him in situations where he can be successful. I'm not going to sit here and blow flowers all over him all the time. I'm not going to do that. But again, make sure we protect him and keep expectations at a reasonable level. And again, he's earned the expectations of being a number one pick, so there is going to be expectations. But my job is to make sure remind everybody all the time that he's still 20 years old, hasn't played his first NBA game. So those expectations we have to temper a little bit and make sure they're realistic, and just look at the history of the number one picks if you want to remind yourself. And it wasn't easy for any of those guys. So that's what I keep in mind. At the same time, understand our job is to continue pushing and growing and developing. So that's why I've always seen lottery picks come through. Everybody wants them to be instant everything, and it doesn't happen. It's a time-tested league. It takes time to grow and develop and go through the fire and come out the other side. So that's kind of what Kate's going to have to go through.
Isaiah told us he couldn't do basketball stuff for like 6 to 8 weeks with the ankle. Is it noticeable?
No, if that could happen to anybody, James, he's the guy that can handle it, because he's going to come out every day giving you the same thing. I'm sure his timing's off a little bit, but energy-wise and hustle-wise and all that's been a given for him. So you can't tell any effects for it. And he worked his behind off even in that 6 to 8 weeks, whatever it was. So that got him ready for training camp.
Isaiah is really the only player on the roster, it seems like, with his specific skill set, being a guy who, he's got a strength. He's a great rebounder. He's a pretty versatile post defender at this stage of his career. And there's a few moments last season when he kind of picked up some of those ticky-tacky fouls. Will there be more pressure on him this season to kind of avoid those anomalous situations?
Well, he's got to. He's got to avoid. He's got to play with his hips and shoulders and keep his hands back, because he and Kelly are two main rim protectors for Lucas. So we can't lose those guys to man the paint. We become small. At some point, Trey could play the five a little bit, but that's why Isaiah's got to be smart. But don't give up. Don't be less aggressive. Still bring your energy and everything, but do it without fouling, keeping your hands back, showing the referee your hands, and don't get cheap fouls. That's what Isaiah has to avoid. The officials respect Isaiah because he does play hard and plays clean every night. So the officials respect that. They're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but those ticky-tack fouls in the backcourt, out on the perimeter, reaching for a ball that you have no chance of getting, those are the ones he has to avoid. And so far, he's done a good job of avoiding those in training camp.
Did you guys ever want to go super big and play Sadiq, let's say, at the two? Do you think he could defend quicker guards, or is he more built for the 3-4s?
Sadiq possibly could. There's guys like DeRozan, the big two guards that are in our league. He can definitely man those guys up, and he's smart enough to understand what the 2 and 3 positions are similar, just like the 1 and 2 positions. So he could. Just thinking out loud, and we have a lot of wings, and that may become necessary just because we have so many numbers at the 2 and 3. So he can do that because he's doing a better job this year of pounding the ball.
Killian and Kate are both very unselfish players, which obviously is good. But in camp, have you kind of seen one take the lead, maybe and settle into that square role, or you have to push on that time?
No, not really. Killian has done a heck of a job. I think he's leading the team in assists today. He was pushing the ball. He made the right basketball plays. He allowed in the scrimmage today, allowed the blue team to score easily. So I love the way he's pushing the pace. So it's more he's had the ball more so far, but I think it's going to be, because again, we have some dynamic scorers in Jeremy. Sadiq is doing a good job of scoring. So we have some scoring, but we got to have the creators and the guy pushing the ball in transition, which Caden and Killian are going to have to do.
Ray, you said that John Beeline is working on fundamentals with guys, and I know in Cleveland when he got there, some of the players are saying it was just newer to them because in college, if they were there a year or 2 years, they didn't get a chance to work on those same things. What kind of impact has he had in the summer work with guys and early in training camp?
Fundamentals. I mean, again, that's the big misnomer of the NBA versus college versus high school. I would fight anyone to understand that understands the game to say that you don't need the basic fundamentals, especially young players in the NBA. I don't know what happened in Cleveland, but with us, we need the fundamentals because we're so young. Even our older guys need the fundamentals, the footwork, the passing, the step passing, the two-hand to one-hand passes. All the simple, basic things, the reason why we were 27 and closer to 28th and 29th in turnover. So that's one reason why we're doing it. We do it every day. He's done a heck of a job of working on those things, setting up the drills. And it's nothing haven't done in our careers, but he's done it at a good level. He's developed shooters. So he's doing a good job for us in those areas that we're going to continue to do, even with our G League guys, and make sure they have the basic fundamentals. If you're going to be a Piston, you got to have a fundamental game down pat. Okay.
Appreciate it, man.